You're now entering the LuxCore Studios. And you've secured a seat for the Protecting Your Radius podcast. Here, we build connections from your contracting profession to some of the top bleeding edge products and services. Don't get deterred. Let's not delay. Here is your host, Nathan Downs.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Protecting Your Radius podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Downs, and we have Mr. Randy Ward in the studio today. Yes, and we are here in the LuxCore Studios in Bixby, Oklahoma, and I've been talking to Randy. It's been about a month, Randy, since you've been on the team and trying to disseminate how things are going, how the uptake is going. There's a lot, to learn. There's a lot of questions to be had. Make sure we're doing all of our processes and procedures correctly. But the big thing for you, buddy, has been obviously the change of scenery, right? You went from running a good-sized fence company in Arkansas. Then the last couple of years you spent on the wholesale side, distribution, and now you're back in the contracting side. So I got a whole blitz of questions I'm going to ask Randy here.
Okay.
And I'd love to get your feedback really, man, on the thought process and the thinking side of some of this stuff. So maybe not so much we use company cam or something, and that's important to understand. But my first question was, how do you feel month in? How's it feel going back to the contracting side, the grind of the business?
Well, it hasn't been bad so far. Not at all. It's been a lot more pleasant than what I expected. You've been very gracious, very patient with me. I'm still learning our crews.
Right.
I think one thing you're still learning is you're still trying to do everything yourself instead of handing more of it off like you should be. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I mean, I think you've pretty much handed me the access control.
Right.
And I'm doing that, and I'm enjoying that, actually. It's been fun getting out in the field a little bit, which I'm good with and I love doing. You'll probably have to tell me eventually, hey, we got people for that.
Yeah. Wrap that up.
Because I just see the dollar signs. We can sure save some money if I do it myself.
Right.
But no, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's an adjustment, like I said, going from modern, where we had 3 divisions, a bunch of crews, a bunch of office staff to you and I. And probably one of the more humbling things for me is just figuring out what I don't know. I mean, I could bid anything, right? But just figuring out your process is how you like to do it. And but I'm getting there. I'm working well with your guys. I like your access control guys. You're good folks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really funny. I think that's something that can't be overlooked or overstated, Randy, is you just mentioned at the end of what you were saying that I do things different than you've done them in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how different some of these things are. You know what I'm saying? How do I come up with my margins, and how does this number equal this? And what do I look at, quantifying a bid and teaching you that? It's really funny because I love sometimes when I say things and you're like, really? That's how you do that? And I'm sitting there thinking, isn't that how everyone does it? So it's very easy for us to get caught up in our own day-to-day minutia, I guess, is the way to look at it. But that being said too, especially for any clients that listen to this podcast in particular, we really pride ourselves on trying to find the highest caliber talent. Doesn't mean we always get it right, but our crews know, our crews on the installation side, they know what to do and they know the correct way to do things. And we always are doing that quality assurance, quality control to make sure that we're not cutting corners, to make sure, that one of the fence crews is on a rock job today out in West Tulsa, right? And I was out there and we've got the skid steer with a rock bit and doing everything, measuring it. And the nice thing for us and for our clients, Randy, is we don't have to babysit that.
Right. I agree.
We've all worked together for so many years that quality of expectation is just they know that that's what it has to be. Now, I don't have to go behind and send Donnie to pull out a post to see, did you set that thing 36 inches deep or anything like that? But again, we have an understanding. We know, like this is an Ameristar job. We know it's going to be a minimum of 21 inches in the ground. Like that's what Ameristar says. That is the expectation and the delivery that we're giving the client. Now, it's very rocky out there. So I already saw some of these holes are 36 inches down, 30 inches down, no problem. Some are right at 21 because you got the rock bit just chewing it up, or whatever that is. But I sent them. Why I say that is because that's a case in point too of coming in and learning the team, right? And that's one of the things, Randy, I think you've done a great job of course, no surprise, with your experience and expertise of like teaching the guys how to do that razor wire over a automated gate, and you start to get into these things. You're like, well, if you've got a slide gate, how do you even put razor ribbon on that? Well, I've seen it and you knew how to do it, but I've never even done it myself.
Right.
So you got to go out and show the guys, no, we make ringlets and then we install them. And they were sending me pictures because they finished all that today. And it was really funny. I'm like, well, how'd it go? They're like, man, if Randy wouldn't have been out here, I'll go, what's funny is that is not how I was going to do it at all. My idea, as you said, that would never work. And I'm like, man, I didn't know. But I've seen those circles, flat laid out on razor ribbon. I just assumed you could, instead of rolling out like a helix, I thought you could just roll it out flat. And you're like,
slide it like a deck of cards.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't work that way.
No,
so
sir.
I learned something as well on that. Mindset is really important, Randy. And you've got, as everyone that knows you and has heard you talk and all the leadership things you've done in the industry, what do you think has been the easiest part of the mindset? Like how you approach the day, how you're approaching what we're doing now. What's the easiest part getting back in this end of the saddle?
Well, the good thing is we all have a positive attitude here. Your team is all very positive, all very can do. There's never, we can't do that. We'll figure it out. I'm never really, I'm a wing it guy, right? I've always just kind of ding, 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 ding. And I'm trying to make an effort to be more structured. And I struggle a little bit with that, but I'm getting there. You've got lots of tools that I'm learning, and I'm really enjoying them. It's different for me, but it's a positive experience, And so as we're taking over this access control thing, I really kind of feel like even last week, even though it was just a one day of the week because I was at Tony's thing, but it was really a page turner for me. I feel like I'm going to take this access control thing over. My goal is for you to go, wow, I didn't even know we were doing those. You know?
Right.
I just want, you to concentrate on the business while we and your crews take this thing to the next level, which we can. There are phone calls come in every day.
Man.
And,
you look at the
we got great partners with SAS.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's doing well.
Southwest Automated has been the best. You could see, we were talking the other day and I was talking to Jerry about how many operators we put in. And, on an average year, Randy, we'll do 100 plus. And you see how we do it. And so a lot of people get mortified. They're like, how do you do that? I don't really know. Right. But I've done it for so long now. It's just kind of like second nature. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, but when I was at Modern, Ron Moeller over there runs their access control department. And when we hired him, gosh, it was probably about 2009 or 10. It was just a game changer. That guy just steadily took over, and just got better and better. And now they're the biggest one over there.
Yeah. And
that's what we're going to do here. And what we did over there is we separated it from the fence. The fence crews did the fence, gate operators did the gate operators. They most of them guys ain't even fence guys, right?
Right.
And that's what we're working towards here. I just want you to be able to say, hey, Randy, I saw on this fence job, it's got, we're going to put a CSL on it, a couple loops, photo eyes, fancy phone, rock and roll, make it happen. Yep, done.
Yeah.
You know, and with your system that you have, it's pretty easy to do that.
Sure. I know you wanted to say a second ago, because I told them before we got on here not to say, all the things about the systems and how we do it. But I know one of your favorite things so far has been, you can give a plug to him, was Company Cam.
I love Company Cam. I mean, it's been the easiest to learn.
Yeah.
My friends have asked me, my peers in the business, what's been the hardest part? And like Nate said, he really didn't want me to go on about software, and I won't. But that is the hardest part. It's just learning the software, because we can bid anything, right? It's fences, gate is gate, and we can do that. But Company Cam has made it very easy. I know there's been a little angst in the crews and stuff, but my gosh, it is so easy. It's kind of like my salesman. It's kind of a no-brainer once you have it, right?
Yeah.
It's really beneficial, and it's one of the things I'll promote. Robbie had a similar program for his house building program, but man, this thing sleeps it's way bad. I love it.
I mean, yeah, just the ability to share information quickly amongst the office, to us out in the field, the managers, to our subcontractors, to our in-house crews.
Oh.
You can share everything with Company Cam, and that was the real thing that got me bought into them originally. But then understanding that our company as a whole, we're really, our core focus of labor is our high quality subcontractors. So it allows us to get that communication out there faster and make sure that we're getting proper documentation on everything.
Oh, what I love about it right off the shoot was I talked to Hunter about it. I went out on a service call that he'd worked on, and I'm like, what's the code, dude? And he just sends me a picture of Company Cam, and there's the gate and there's the code.
Right.
Just right on there. And as I've learned about it before, you tell me to go do a job, I write down the name, I get on Company Cam, I pull up that job, and Brenda and Lexi usually have it put in there first thing off the phone call. I just hit a pin, brink.
Right.
Do you want to open in Google Maps, or you want to open in Apple Maps?
Right.
Boom, and it just takes you there. And then you got your pictures, and you can draw on them, and it's amazing. It's a great program.
Yeah.
It's been a learning curve, but that was the easiest one, and that's a great tool. I like that one.
It's something that I think any type of annotation software like that can easily get you in and out. You've heard me talk about this, and you've heard it from the horse's mouth himself. Eddie Gibbs always talked about speed of business. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned on the podcast all the time, that's a sentiment that always echoes in my brain, because I worked for Ameristar for a number of years. That Eddie approached it, and how Mark and Shanky and everyone picked it, and Barry and stuff, they picked up that, that attitude. That's where I see things like this, like tools such as a Company Cam or a Job Nimbus, or really any of these things. How can that increase our speed and make us more efficient in the things that we do? So, which in theory should create more profitability.
Yeah, a lot of those things.
For over 30 years, Southwest Automated Security has been the premier provider of gate operators, access controls, CCTV, and so much more. Visit southwestautomated.com today, taking dealers to the next level.
I learned some of that stuff when I went to work for my son, because he was just like you. If there was a piece of software that could make us more efficient, he was all over it, and we had to implement it, and it did work. It just worked.
Right.
Instead of dragging out a set of plans to find something, man, everybody's got it on their iPad or their phone, or worst case scenario, you email that to Staples and they print it for you. You got to have it. So he helped me really believe in that stuff. And then you and I have talked, for the last several years about this stuff before Radius. You've had Radius for a while, but before it was full time, and good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm having fun, Nathan. I really am.
That's good. I'm glad you're saying that. He says he's having fun with his boss sitting next to him on a podcast, right?
Wink, wink, wink.
Well, we lost our video feed, so we're audio only the remainder of the week.
Well, we both have a face for audio anyway. Or face for radio, right?
Yeah, Rob's going to be like, oh, this is easy. We'll put a couple pictures up of these boys and stuff. So if you're watching on YouTube, Welcome to our static image the rest of the way. We're going to continue on like that didn't just happen.
That image takes about 20 pounds off of me.
Exactly, the black screen. We're going to find our skinniest picture. So
That's
you're going to find
right.
one of me like 19 or 20 years old. Like, what? Why does he look so young? Where's his beard?
Who's that dark-headed guy?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They have color in their hair. What's going on here? So what would you say, Randy, has been the most challenging thing as far as not the process side of things, right? Like what's challenged you so far that maybe you were surprised to run across that at this point? I know it's hard.
Just trying to find my way. You mentioned something earlier about it being such a lot smaller company. Even though you've got a lot of moving parts, one of the things, just to be blunt, is staying busy on certain areas, because you're so busy and you're still figuring out how to hand it off to me and hand me this and that and that. And of course, to be fair to you, I got so many questions, it's probably easier for you to just do it, right? But that's been a little bit of a challenge. And the next challenge is like we got a bunch of gate operators to get done at the first of the year. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to put in minimum 5. I know that.
Yeah.
And maybe more. And I'm trying to figure out how I can do them. And you're saying, no, we can have this guy do this one. You don't have to do that one. And I'm like, So I've got to grab that mindset of not being greedy, I guess is the right word, and try and just keep the volume going. I mean, you've been very successful doing that with subs. We don't have to install them. But one of the things I think that's going to be one of the more difficult challenges is finding our in-house guy. Because I want us to develop an in-house guy. We got great subs, and we want to continue to use those guys because they've made us a lot of money. But we do still, sometimes we need that person right away, and these guys are tied up.
Yeah.
Yep. And if we had a service guy and a guy that could do simple installs all day long, where we sub out the more complicated ones to these guys with years and years of experience, that's my biggest challenge that when I'm laying in bed at night thinking, okay, how am I going to find that guy?
Right.
How can I want to steal Ron, but he ain't moving over here from Arkansas.
Right.
And he's trying to get out of the install too. So, I mean, it's just, that is my biggest challenge, really.
I think that, and I've talked about this several times, I think that mindset that you just said is one of the hardest things for people in the gate or the fence side, or really, honestly, any contractor listening to this, right? Really, and especially contracting, where you could do it yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to get the point. My uncle stopped by earlier today with my mom in the office. They were here for about 30 minutes, and my mom was doing some stuff in the back there, and he came up and he said, "Hey, you're not building any fences today?" And I said, "Nah, I try not to build any fences anymore." And he's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "If I'm out with the boys, they're usually mad at me going, why aren't you selling something? We're going to need work for tomorrow." And it was really funny because even my uncle was kind of like, "Huh, that's weird." Like he gave me that look, and I think he kind of went, "Huh." And he had never heard someone say that, because he immediately, in the same breath, said, "Well, my buddy who's 65, he's getting close to retirement. He's still out there with his crews and stuff." So I wasn't really sure if he was saying that like as a pot shot to me, or the fact of, but it doesn't matter because I really don't give I don't give a darn about it anyways. I'm sitting here thinking, but this is why that's a mindset choice to be, and you come from running your own business, having your own business, then running Modern for all those years, right? So you have had people, but what you see in front of you right now is the old Viking gate and fence.
I see the old Viking fence because you just nailed it. That's what I was seeing. I'm like, oh, man, that's some revenue we can snag, But one of the things what is great about you, Nathan, and a lot of these new guys, and again, here I'm going to say, I learned this from my son. He just looked at me, and I'm saying, look, let's do gate operators, and he says, that's fine, Dad. We can build that business big as you want, but you ain't going to go do them.
I remember when Robbie told you that.
Yeah, I'm like, what do
because you
mean?
were telling me that for years.
Yeah,
right. Like it was like 2016, and you're like, Robbie's like, Dad, I don't want you putting in these operators. And then I'd call you on the weekend. Then it's 2017, 18. What are you doing, Randy? Oh, I'm installing a gate operator. Pretty sure Robbie said not to do that.
I know. I know. But the mindset is, and he wouldn't.
Right.
He even he didn't cut his grass.
Right.
He said, Dad, I ain't got time to cut my grass. I can be making money running this.
Yep.
And I can, by paying that guy, I'm making money.
If I could turn my body into your son, we're the same person. I would grow a couple inches and lose, a couple 100 pounds. I could be your son.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are so similar and
so funny.
Same attitude. But yeah, right? Robbie was smart. And, like I told you, he's the one that he got me all, he sent me to Grant Cardone's at 10X things and got me, we were both leadership gurus for a while, but I'm very conservative by nature. A lot of things, I don't agree with. I'm trying to be that blend between Dave Ramsey and Grant Cardone because that just scares me to death. But I love the aggression and attitude of Cardone. Just to come on,
Yeah.
Be obsessed or be average, right? It gives you permission to be obsessed, and you guys are very similar at that. You're very. But what you guys both do and what you guys don't. I mean, you hear about Nathan, but dude, he's literally in 2 years he'll have done over $4 million in sales while coaching his son's football team, while being active in his church, while being the president of the Midwest chapter, while trying to make his wife happy, right? And keep her, spending some alone time with her. I mean, it's just the busy, when you got children becoming teenagers, that is the busiest
so true.
10 years of your life.
It's so
and
true.
when you're trying to grow a business, it's just, gosh, I remember those days. And people ask me about being involved in the AFA, and I've had to tell them, I couldn't have done it at your age.
Yeah.
I had too many things going on. There's just no way I could have done it.
Yeah, which is why I have to give it up. A lot of people don't know that, here in 2 weeks, at the end of the year, my tenure as the AFA Midwest chapter president comes to an end. And unfortunately, the beginning of it started right when we started this, right? 2 years ago. So all the plans and things I had in store for the for the chapter, I did not get any of them done. I was like, oh man, I had all these grand plans, and then life stepped in the way. But I think that's a really valid point, Randy, because, it's easy to let things become excuses. So you have to make a choice to power through and know when is a good time and when's not. Like talking to Dan Wheeler, we were talking about him now being married to Sandy. They just got married and earlier this year and stuff. And we've been on podcasts, and him, myself, and Dan Blanc, where we got in arguments about this stuff because, Dan Blanc and I are a little bit older and we're at a little bit different place in life. But I would challenge anyone that has young kids. Now is the time. I heard this from my mentors when they had little kids and they were really pushing their businesses to the next level, because by the time, they always talked about that, when their kids are young is when you should be going balls to the wall, because as soon as your kids get to 10, 12, 13, 14 into the teenage, just like you said, that 10-year span, I wish I would have when I went 8 years ago. I wish I could have gone out on my own at that point, because I can see how much more value it would have brought to my children now. Mm-hmm. So I just have to sacrifice some things. Like, don't get me wrong. Our first year goal, Randy, was to beat Josh Glover. Like that was my goal, to do 3 million in the first year. Now I barely got half of that. So then I called Josh and I'm like, I hate you. You're a freak, but that's freaking awesome. Because like I knew how much work it took just to get to that. Right. So let alone, but then other people hear it and they're like, what? That's impossible. I'm like, nah, Josh Glover freaking did it even bigger than us and stuff. But again, different seasons, different circumstances for sure, and all those things. So I don't want to give excuses one way or another, but it's still a mindset thing. You know,
it is 100% a mindset. And, you know, you're a Christian and you always try to put the Lord first. And I know you do that. But that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you know, we all have that, you know, God, family, work. Well, right. So much of the time it's work, family, God, you know, right. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, and you have to, you know, one of the things Cardone says, you know, when you read any of his books, and of course, he's at a different stage in his life. He didn't have kids till he was older. He's in his 50s before he had kids. Yep. So he just takes them everywhere.
Yep.
Right? They've just become a part of his business. You know, but when you're younger and you're trying to build a business, you know, and hey, man, you know, you got to spend time with your wife. You know, she wants to be part of the wins. She wants to be part of it. And you can't just ignore and just run past it, because it just, depending on your wife, you know, some
Sure.
of them are fine with that.
Sure.
You know, but you need that support at home and know that she's taking care of your babies, getting everything going, so you don't have to worry about all those things, you know. But you do have to find that balance. And right now you're in fast forward more. You know, we got to build this business. You know, but fortunately, you know, as we get going and Donnie takes on more responsibility, I take on more responsibility, and we get the next guy, you know, get that residential salesman. So that's going to take that residential sales off your job.
Yep.
Where you can run the business, right? Look at acquisitions, you know, because that's where we're going, guys. We're acquiring, you know, we're going to grow. We're just going to keep going.
I've been looking at land every day, buildings. Our commercial market sucks. I just wanted to tell you
our
that.
building is great.
Our building is great. Our yard sucks.
Our yard sucks. But
so
our
I've been looking for, I mean, I found a place over by Tyler Mills over there in Glenpool for sale. And I was like, it's 3 acres with a 2,400 square foot building.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
I mean, come on. I'm sitting there looking at it going, I could buy this today. But, you know, it's just like, especially where we're at, taking you on, I have to look at the books. What do I do with the cash? When's the rest of the cash coming in? You know, you start looking at the accounts payable and or receivables, and it's like, yeah. So I've got 4 big GCs. I was showing you some of that owe us a lot of money here at the end of the year, and it doesn't look like we're going to get paid by the end of the year, which means the beginning of our 2024 is jacked loaded.
That's
we're
not such a bad thing.
It's really not. I mean, I shouldn't complain about it. It makes QuickBooks a freaking disaster, but nonetheless, it is cool to know, like, you start the year off that cash solvent.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Right. But still, you know, I would like a yard. That would be nice to be able to actually store some stuff.
Patience.
So as we wrap this thing up, put a bow on it, Randy, we touched a number of different things. I think one thing I'm taking away from our conversation here, because we purposely didn't talk about this before we started recording, because I wanted this to be really granular and organic. I think that so much of growth in any trade falls on leadership, to the point of you have to decide what your goals are and make a plan. I mean, what was the first thing, the first day you were here, what did we work on?
Oh, dude, we did our SWOT.
Yeah. So we worked on strategic planning, tried to work on really everything, right? Bring Randy up to speed on where we're at. It was Donnie, Randy, and I all day long. And we were just drilling through all the different things. And, you know, we even hit the lull in the after lunch lull. You know, everybody's kind of, oh my gosh, we've been doing this for 7 hours straight. This is brutal. But, I think that really shows if you have a plan, you can overcome so much adversity.
I talked to a young guy who's got a drywall company. And one of the things I told him, and this is why we did that, because we're going to continue grinding on it till we got it right. I said, but if you can get a strategic plan and you know your core values, every decision you make, you can look at that strategic plan and those values, and that tells you the decision to make.
Yep.
If it doesn't line up with where you're going, then that's a no. If it doesn't line up with your values, that's a no. But if it does, and we have the resources, well, that's a yes. Giddy up, as our buddy Barry would say.
Giddy up.
So
that's good.
And I would leave everybody with that. If you don't, even with a small company, if you can, like Dave Ramsey says, because good book says, without a vision, the people perish, right? That's what a strategic plan is. It's a vision for the future, where you're going. My buddy, our buddy, Bobby Batchelor, they have 6 month strategic plans. They've got 20-year strategic plans. I mean, they're rocking and rolling, but they have, they're on a lot bigger scale.
Right.
But that's what makes decisions a lot easier, because you're like, whoa. I see what you're saying, but where does that land in this strategic plan?
Yeah. And what's funny is we're so new, we still don't know what we don't know. Like even the future of everything. We could sit down and I'd say I have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan, but we're so fresh that it's like, it's trash.
I know, but if you fail to plan,
that's true.
You plan to fail.
Right. So I'll clarify what I just said. It doesn't mean you don't have it, but it may feel and seem like it's an impossibility. Like we're never going to get there.
I get it.
Like I'm going to say my 20-year plans, like we want to have 100 locations or something. So you say that and you're like, what? Well, so if that is really what your plan and your expectation is, there's only one way to work that out, Randy. You have to literally work it out from the end to now. Mm-hmm. Suddenly you find out you can't do that, or you can do that and what it's going to take, and you may not want to pay that price.
There's companies out there doing it right now. They're franchising, and that's how they get that. But they are in the franchise business. They're not in the fence business. Right. So there's a big difference. So that's what we got to decide. It's like Ray Kroc, right?
Yes.
He wasn't in the restaurant business. He was in the real estate business.
That's right.
So we got to figure that out. And we will. We're on the road.
I want to get in the real estate business.
Absolutely.
Come on. Giddy up.
Yep.
Oh, man. Well, Randy, great conversation. Hopefully, if anybody has any questions or comments or wants Mr. Randy to expound upon that, we would be glad to take any of those questions. You can message us on any of our social media channels at radius_podcast, or you can also email us at info@protectingyourradius.com. Randy, always a pleasure. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for working today, and me too. And we've got more work to do, so we're going to wrap up our day.
We're putting in gate operators tomorrow, guys.
Let's go.
All right.
See you guys. Bye.
You've been listening to the Protecting Your Radius podcast from the LuxCore Studios in Bixby, Oklahoma. Thanks for sticking around, and connect with us and all of our partners at www.protectingyourradius.com. We want to thank our premier partners. LuxCore, the newest line of premium quality composite infill to slide into your FenceTech fence system. Frame your style today. Also, StainTrack, the world's first patented standalone stain machine. Utilizing flood coat technology, StainTrack covers boards, pickets, posts, and any type of dimensional wood you can think of. And what better way to use your StainTrack machine than to use the easy application Wood Defender family of stains. Wood Defender goes on easy and covers in one coat with no backbrushing. And of course, the true power of our show is you, the listener. Please rate and review our show on whatever platform you consume this content. Your 5-star likes and reviews help other contractors get the message that we all want to be better and do better. And in the construction world, we can never forget that before you can be great, you've got to be good. Before you can be good, you've got to be bad. But before you can even be bad, you've got to try.